Hello, Janina. It's lovely to see you again. How are you?
Hello, Naomi. It's so nice to see you. I am doing as well as can be expected, but we have a very complicated world going on right now.
It certainly is complicated. There's no doubt about that. But it's nice to see you and to see that you're looking very well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here. My little contact with Australia. Yes.
Which is why we're talking today, because you're going to have some bigger contact with us in a few months' time with your upcoming training, self-destructive and suicidal behaviour as a traumatic attachment disorder. And I'm very excited that you're going to be offering this to us in Australia. I understand it's a brand new training that you've developed. And I'm just wondering if you could give us a little bit of a taster of what people might expect from this training.
Well, this is a training I've had. You and I talked about it several years ago. I've had it. It's kind of been gelling gradually because I noticed this tendency that we have in the field when we have clients who are suicidal, who are self-harming, who are self-destructive. We tend to label them borderline and sort of, not give up on them because we feel responsible for their safety, but we don't feel a lot of hope for them, or it's like they're engaging in unsafe, harmful behavior that is a strain on the therapist and a strain on their loved ones. And I was struck by the fact that no one seemed to have read all the literature in the field, John Briere being one of the people who've studied this, that it's very clear from the research that suicidality, whether it's suicidal thoughts or behavior, is highly associated with trauma. Self-harm, again, the rates of self-harm in people who've never experienced trauma are very, very low. And it's very high in people who have experienced trauma. And so I began to think about how, if we thought about borderline personality as a trauma-related disorder, what kind of trauma-related disorder would it be? Obviously, it would be a traumatic attachment disorder. And so that's where I started to work. What if we understood, we got rid of that word borderline, and we started to look at the symptoms and behaviors as a reflection of traumatic attachment. How does that change the treatment? How does it change how we feel about working with the client?
And so when we think about self-destructive behaviour, self-harming, suicidality, often we approach that from the perspective of it's about self-regulation, trying to self-soothe, finding the best way that the person has with the skills and resources that they have. But what you're talking about seems to be, coming from a different perspective if we think about it as being attachment related. So can you say something about how those particular behaviours relate to trauma and attachment?
Because, everything you've said is absolutely, I think, absolutely accurate. But, if we think about what's traumatic attachment is about the intense need for contact, for safety, right? We certainly have learned in COVID that threat really increases our feeling of need to be close to others. But trauma also increases the intensity of our fight-flight responses. And so we're caught, that's what traumatic attachment is this intense, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching conflict between the need, the yearning to attach, and the need to fight and flee. So then I began to think about, okay, let's start to look at these very violent behaviors as a reflection of the fight response. And what if we look at the relationship between feeling abandoned, feeling hurt, feeling rejected, and these fight responses? And it's so interesting because, of course, the label that's always gone with a borderline diagnosis is manipulative and attention seeking. But what if that's actually not the case? And most people who are suicidal say, yes, if I wanted attention, I could find a better way to get it. Right? What if we think of it more as the kind of frantic, desperate sense of, I need somebody to understand. I need some way to manage my sanity. And what if we treated it as an attachment disorder rather than as a bad behavior?
Well, look, I mean, that makes perfect sense. And I'm really excited, as I said before, that you're going to be sharing this training with us in a few months' time in September.
Yeah.
So I very much look forward to welcoming you again in a few months' time. And in the meantime, stay safe.
Yes, you too, and everyone out there. I think of Australia all the time because I love your country so much that I hate to think of all of you under the COVID threat.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.
Okay, great.
Bye, Janina.
Bye.